Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Crafty Maven podcast. This is your host, Hannah.
And I'm Megan. Thanks to all you crafty mavens that are joining us today. And also, it's going to be a little bit different episode because I am in my car.
Yay for car episodes.
Yeah, woohoo. Also, I'm in a parking lot at work and there's cars driving by. So I apologize if you hear cars driving by.
I love how I can see the blue sky. In
right?
Your car,
Oh, no,
and when I
you
look
can.
out my window, I can see
Yeah.
I mean, people can't see that. They can just see the sun glowing on me.
Yes.
And looking at my beautiful space back there. Doesn't it look so pretty?
I know it looks, I was going to say, it's so pretty. It looks so good. I watched your little time lapse of you putting it together, and that was really fun.
Oh, there's more. I have a whole,
is there?
I have another one, and then I'll have one more because I have one more panel to do. So yeah.
Fun. I love
it's
those
a fun
types
way
of
to
videos.
get some shorts in there, and I know people love to see people organize. I like to see it, so super fun.
Definitely.
It's been fun putting everything up there and figuring out what can I put on there, what do I want to put on there.
Right.
For right now, I have mostly
Is it, so are you doing all the store stuff on your board, or is it a mix of store and your stuff?
Yeah, on the board itself, which you can't really see because it's right over here. Well, I guess you can kind of see it. That is store stuff that I think I have some cups, and in there I might put some of my own personal brushes and stuff because I use a lot of these jars and stuff. So I thought it would be kind of fun to put those in there. Or at least some of the stuff, some of my markers I don't use all the time. But for the most part, I want it to be store stuff because, except for the washi tape. The washi tape's mine on there.
Yeah. Oh, so, cool.
Which it looks a little sad. I think we talked about that. But maybe not. I don't know. I talked about it, at least, in a video that I don't think I posted yet. Because, I have all these intentions to post, and then I get doing other stuff, and then I forget. Oh yeah, I did that.
No, I totally get that. I have videos from January that I still haven't posted, and I still want to do a 2025 goal video, which I think I'm gonna do it. But it's going to be an update video, life update,
I was going to ask if you were going to do that. So maybe this is a good little segue. Okay, first, we're on episode 14. Yes, Gia, I actually got it right this time. I'm talking to you. She called me out. She's like, maybe you shouldn't remember, say what episode it is. Because we just keep forgetting, which is true. We do. It's because now it's been such a routine. But on that, this is going to be your last episode for a while. So I'm so sad.
I know. I'm so sad too.
I love this time that we've been able to create for ourselves because so for people who don't know, and I know we've talked about this. We've been friends for over 10 years now. And so, it started with us just boxing or messenger video or audio. Gosh, I remember that. That was tough.
That was tough
crazy because you would have to hold on to the messenger. That's why we switched over to Voxer. But anyway, so we used to
and you could only do it for a minute at a time or something like that. So it's you would have 20, 30 1-minute messages, and it's oh my gosh. And with Voxer you can do 15 minutes.
So you can do 15 minutes at a time, which is crazy because I'm sure a lot of people are how do you talk for 15 minutes at a time? But when you're responding to each other, so now we don't leave as many messages. Well, one, because we're both super busy. But anyway, so it started off that way, which I absolutely love. And a lot of what we were talking about is responding to other podcasts that we were listening to, the clipping round table, right?
Paper clipping round table. Yeah.
There we go. Paper clipping. I knew it was in there somewhere.
Yeah.
Hey, I'm just starting to get up and do things, and people might be surprised because it's 11:15, but my husband works overnight shifts, so this is kind of our weekend. So we stay up a little bit later And so I'll get up a little later. That's the joy of, being able to kind of make your own schedule.
It is. I'm
But
very jealous of you all the time.
yeah, it's nice. The thing I will say is that sometimes I don't feel like I'm as productive because I'm not up like super early. But with that said, like yesterday, my husband couldn't sleep and he had me up at 8 o'clock,
Oh,
waking
wow.
me up because he's a little kid and he can't be up by himself.
Of
And
course not.
he was like, I've been up for a while. He's like, get up. But anyway, so we started out just chit chatting, responding to other people, what other people were doing, thinking, talking through our creative ideas. And then, and gosh, we did that for years and years. I think it was probably a couple of years before we really brought in a lot of like all life stuff. I mean, obviously we talked about personal stuff, but it was a lot more on the scrappy side. And then it kind of switched to a lot more personal just because we both were going through a lot of personal stuff. And so those were fun times. I mean, I still love how we do things now, but anyway, then when I want to say, was it when I moved here, we would like on a Friday or whatever, we would video chat. And
I think it was in Hawaii. Together. I think we did that in Hawaii for a little bit because I remember that the time change, like the hours, because you were like 4 hours behind or ahead.
Yeah, 3 or 4, depending on when, like
at the time of year. But and sometimes I feel like it was difficult to like make it work because, you were 4 hours ahead or I was 4 hours ahead and like family, and we still, back then we had little kids, and but we tried to work with it, and I feel like both our spouses were pretty good. Like that was one thing that I feel like your ex and my ex were like good about, is letting us have that friend time, to get away with the kids and stuff, and just to
for
have
the
time for
evening
each other
and just scrap and chat. So we did that for years. Even after I kind of started to take a break, we were still doing that. It was less of me scrapping, but you would still scrap.
I would still scrap.
I would say, when did we stop doing that? Because, it just got really busy once I was really single and stuff and working. I think that was a lot of it, is that, and you were working a lot, and then you started working stuff. So
and then when I got with Ashley, I feel like, because she has little kids, like most of our weekends were just family stuff,
and that's understandable.
So, and I kind of feel like when you're in a new relationship too, like that takes precedence over friends sometimes. Like, I mean, you and I would still talk on Voxer like daily and text and stuff, but it was just that FaceTime, like that sitting down and having that dedicated. It's changed, and like we still kind of do FaceTime, but it's like scrappy chats or like whenever we can fit it in during lunch, whatever.
So this is your reminder that your crafty besties that you have, and you could have more than one, because that is totally acceptable.
Oh yeah, of course.
And actually I highly encourage it, because it's just nice to have those different perspectives of different people, and it's like you mesh about different things and it gets those creative juices going. So today we're going to talk a little bit about Scrappy Burnout and going through a season when you're going to be busy, and like just kind of, we're just that's kind of what we're talking about. Like there's going to be a lot of different segues into that. I think this is a topic that I know we could do probably 3 or 4 episodes on,
definitely,
or more. I feel like, because, and I know this is one of my own personal things that I feel like we don't talk about this enough. We don't, especially as a creator. I feel it more so on that side, because we like, and the push to like do so many things is so high that those expectations are there, and we just like feel like we have to be the best at it. And it's like, and because of that, it creates this like weird environment instead of us being inspired by each other. And not to say that that doesn't happen within that, but it can easily, that needle can switch. And so, and when you're in that like preseason of burnout, it's like, I think those are, it's kind of hard to identify, but then all of a sudden you realize like, oh, I'm in burnout. And then it's like, danger, danger, you know, all of the lights on your panel are flashing, but you don't know what to do. Like, and especially as like someone who's been on a lot of teams and had to, you know, when you're on a lot of different things, or you're doing a lot of different things on your channel or whatever, because it's like, I know like there's so many different hops to do, or like series that everybody's doing, and you want to do it all. But then, so anyway, so that's kind of what we're talking about today. And if you've never experienced this, then I want to know what you're doing, because I think this is something we all experience on some levels. But I think one of the biggest, and one of, I use ChatGPT. I'm not going to lie here, everyone. So if you don't like creative AI, so, and it really helps like when we're doing these podcasts sometimes, because they bring up some different ideas and thoughts of questions that I think really have been super helpful. I don't know if it, because it can look on your phone. Like, I don't know. I don't want to think about all that kind of stuff. But anyway, and I for sure don't like using it in the art atmosphere, you know, but like for ideas for this kind of stuff is perfect. But one of the things they asked, and I think this is a really good question and a good way to start, is how do you know it's not a creative rut versus actual like burnout that you need a break? How do you tell the difference? Megan, how do you tell the difference?
Well, and I think like that's hard, because I think sometimes burnout, you don't even realize that you're in it. Like recent, I don't think I'm in burnout, but I definitely have been very like conscious of everything that's going on in my life right now. Like I'm stressed because of work, or, you know, because of personal things, like, and like life isn't easy for anybody. And so I think like a lot of people are able to kind of put that aside and use scrapbooking to their advantage. But then like when, like right now, I'm starting to feel like maybe I am kind of burning out. Like I'm feeling like I don't really look forward to scrapbooking. Like I use it as more of like, I have to do this because I'm on a design team, because, you know, like I want to help this store, like the Crafty Maven store, you know, I want to get as many people to know about this. Like I have good intentions, but it's just a little too much, you know, like I'm going to be moving here in the next couple months, which was a very like, this just happened like a few days ago, you know, like we decided to do this and it's like, okay, wow, now we're in the thick of this. And it's like, we were going to wait like 3 or 4 months, you know, to move. And it's just like the perfect house came up, and you just kind of on those things, you just have to do it, everything aside and just do it. And like I don't feel like I'm in burnout, but I can tell, like I can see the signs, you know. So like for me, it's like I don't actually enjoy sitting down and scrapbooking. I don't, because usually I'll be like, oh, I want to go scrapbook. Whereas like the last few weeks, I have to go scrapbook because of this obligation, you know? So like for me, that's kind of where, like, if I'm saying I have to versus I want to, like, that's a huge, like, red flag. It feels like red flag is not the right word, because I love scrapbooking, but like at the same time, it kind of is.
It is a red flag. I mean, it's a different kind of red flag, or maybe we could say even it's a yellow flag. It's a yellow flag. It tells you that caution, something is going on. Let's dig deeper. And you know, well, and it can easily go from that caution that like, oh, I don't really feel like I'm into this, to like that continual, like you push through it. And I know like that's one of just our life things, is like, oh, you just got to push through it. You got to fake it till you make it, which sometimes that works because sometimes you just like, but when it comes to scrapbooking and being creative, if you're just faking it or you're just doing it because you have to, eventually it does lead. I feel like that it starts at creative rut, or it starts at being stressed out about other things to it seeps in, and it's like a weird virus, and it just like it morphs it, and then you don't enjoy it, and then you don't, it's not filling your cup, it's taking stuff out. And it's like when you're continually doing that, something like being crafty and creative is supposed to be a net positive to your life and not a net negative. So it's like if the balance is not, or if the scale is unbalanced, there we go, then you just, it just is not going to work out in your favor. You know, you're not going to get out of it what you want to get out of it. It's going to show in how you feel about your project. And then I feel like it does show like how you feel about yourself, because it's like, you're not excited to share. You're not excited to be in the community. I think that was one of my big red flags for when I was really starting to get burnt out, is like I started to not want to chat with people, not because I didn't love my conversations with them. It's just that also felt like a chore getting online. It's like, and I think for me, a lot of the burnout was probably more due to all the social media stuff. You know, it's like, oh, I'm constantly on my phone. And we know now that being on our phones and technology, as good as it is because it connects us, it can be detrimental to your mental health if you don't, once again, if you don't have that scale balance, you know. And that was the thing that I was craving in my life, is real life, like in person. It's like, I'm such an outgoing person and an extrovert. I get joy from other people, like hanging out with other people. But like, there's just an element of it being online. Like I was my personality was wanting to switch, and it doesn't. And then I want to be an introvert, and I'm not, that's not how I am. So then I'm like feeding myself these negative things. It's like eating junk food, right? It's like, it tastes really good, but after a while of eating ice cream every day for every meal, you know, you're going to start feeling like crap. You know, you're going to start seeing the effects of it. And so it's like, and I know I had a lot of that. Like, I just felt like I had to create, and even like the ideas for creating were difficult too. But I think that's where it starts from creative rut. It like, I think it just starts there, you know, sometimes being in that rut of like, I don't know what kind of ideas. And this is where like ChatGPT is a good idea. Watching a lot of other scrapbookers and what are they doing, and tapping into some of their ideas, because that's the awesome thing about this creative community, is that we're not in it alone. We're together, and we can use that to spark and inspire. And as long as you're giving credit where it's due, because I'm a big advocate for that. Like if you're seeing something, you know, you need to try to, as much as you can. It's like, I've helped other people out because they're like, I don't know where I see this layout, and I'll go and I'll search it for them, because it's like, I get it. Sometimes it is hard if you don't know how to do that search, or, you know, maybe you don't have the time. But it's like, I'd rather do the extra search. Like, anyway, my brain like thought about something that happened, and I thought about bringing it up, and I'm just gonna let it go. We're gonna let it go because it could be a thing, and I don't. But it's like, I am very big. It's like if you see someone else, make sure you give them credit, you know, and try to do your research. It is not very hard to do that. So this is just my little stance for today. If you're going to use other people's ideas, please, 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 please try as much as you can. Even if all you're saying is, I've seen this on Instagram, you know, or I've seen this idea, or it sparked an idea, you know, do that. Because one, it's like, it makes us all feel better, but also like, that's how we feed off of each other, and that's how we grow, and we sharpen our tools of being creative. And it just like, when that creativeness is good and balanced, then the rest of your life can be a lot more balanced. And I think that's where
Exactly.
the hard part is like when your personal life is way not balanced, it does seep over. Because I think that was a lot of my burnout too, is there was such a difference between who I was in my scrap room to who I had to be in my everyday life.
Right.
And it was very exhausting going back and forth, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was bleeding into this area. And so then I just didn't want to scrap. And I had whiles where I did not want to do anything. And I'd have people ask, like, oh, you should do that. And I'm like, you know, and it's like, I mean, do I wish that they beat me over the head a little bit more? Yes. But then again, like, how is that helpful? Right. So
Mm-hmm.
I think one of my, I don't know, like even how to do tips or whatever, because I don't think we'll have time. This is just like
This is just,
scraping the top
touching the surface.
of the
Yeah.
surface. I'm my gosh, my brain today, guys.
Anna's only been awake for a little bit, so
I'm trying to let the coffee like infuse into my brain. Really, I just need an IV, just tap it in. But
well, and I think that that's one of the reasons why I like the Crafty Maven, like, and then it feels like such a good place because you can always go there and get so many different ideas. I mean, I know there's so many outlets, but like with the Crafty
yeah,
Maven, like when we were doing it before back in like 2015 to 2019, whatever it was, like everybody was bringing all of these ideas to the table, but then there's also like a discussion going on about these ideas, so
yeah,
like making sure that we do give credit and stuff like that, like that's important, like you're saying. And then but then also like you're tapping into all of the different creative outlets from everybody else.
yeah,
So that's one of the biggest things that I think the Crafty Maven has really done for our industry is just like it's everybody all together. It's not just like one person,
mm,
like that's doing all this amazing stuff. It's like everybody together.
yeah. Well, and I love how, when we kind of started taking a break, we seen that idea flow out into other groups. It's like I see that
Right.
in other groups now. I see that, it's like, and it's so fun to see because it's like I and I was talking to the Lindy Stamp Gang owner. Oh gosh, I don't remember her name. Lovely woman. And one of the things we talked about was how the the community was so segregated for so long that people like it really were button heads. It just like, and some of it is like, oh, the way I scrap is better, and I remember seeing this when I came in, of
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, you're on Studio Calico kit, oh, but I use this kit, or oh, you do digital scrapbooking, I do this, or I do new and I do old, and it's like, oh, I do 2 pages, and like you do one, it's like, or it's like all these things, and that's what I love about
Right.
what we did, and it wasn't even on purpose
Mm-hmm.
necessarily. It was just like a whole bunch of us who were creators, and that's what drove us together.
Right.
And we happened to have all these different cool styles, but also I think because we were new and starting out, we really did pull in a lot of the different people. We didn't have years of being able to like mold it into like this perfect look, which I think ended up making it perfect. It's like I
Mm-hmm.
remember at the beginning going, wow, there's so many different styles, and I don't like, how do I fit this into the mold of what the industry was trying to do? And I think for a little while I wanted to do that. And then I realized, but that's not who we are. And
Right.
leaning into that. So even with scrapbooking burnout, I'm going to tie this in. I think that one of it is I'm going to go back to, this needs to be like our mantra, our reason why. Okay. Because you have to go back to that reason why I'm doing it and stay true
Mhm.
also to yourself. Like it's one thing to play and learn, because I'm all about that. I'm all about using new things, new techniques, looking at all different styles, but you also have to know who you are as a scrapbooker. I think if you don't know that, creative burnout is going to happen even more because you don't put those boundaries in your within your scrapbooky, whatever, right? You're not going to
Yeah.
put those boundaries in to do projects that you know are going to benefit you or be exciting to you for what, you know, whatever your reason why. And so honestly, and I'm not, it's like just because you know your reason why doesn't, but I think sometimes we need to really keep that in the back of our head is, why am I doing this? Why am I doing all these projects? Is it really helpful for me? You know, is it being inspired? Like, because I'm so inspired, I want to do everything? Or is it, you know, am I doing it because I feel like I have to be part of the community? Or like when I came back, one of my decisions was I want to do as many houses as I can. I want to do all these series because I want to connect back with the community, because I did step back and I was disjointed. So I didn't have that connection. So I feel like knowing your reason why and using that to help your boundaries and build boundaries around what you're doing, because it's so positive when you can have those boundaries in place, and then you can say no to things, or you can say, no, I need to give myself time. Maybe I don't feel like it today, but then from there, redirecting, like, okay, I don't have to get a layout done. Like there's sometimes where I like the other day, I should say the other weekend, on my weekend, I wanted to get 2 layouts done. I was like, I need to get 2 layouts done. But then I get doing mixed media and I'm like, I'm not feeling it. So instead of forcing myself to do a layout because I felt like I wanted to get 2 done, I just worked on the backgrounds and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to lay down. I'm going to get some good sleep. And then I can come back. And then I'm not going to feel like, because I was starting to go, I don't know what to do. I can't find any ideas of what I want to do. And instead of forcing that, and I think sometimes we do that a lot, and it's that continual, it's like when you're with your kids or with your spouse or partner or whatever, or even parents, you know, you easily can let things slide of like, oh, this bugs me, I'm going to let it slide. But when we let things slide like that in our scrapbooking, it builds and builds and builds, and it's like that beetle, right? It's like it starts off with a little bit of poop, and then next thing you know, he's got a big giant poop ball that's bigger than his body, right? So we don't want our scrapbooking problems and issues to become this big ball of poop or garbage, right? It's like we want it to be effective, because the whole point is to get our memories out, you know, be creative. So it's like redirecting, like how you even just come into your space sometimes, and not putting those expectations on yourself as much as you can. Like I get, if you're on teams and you're doing series, it's like, so you do have to have like some kind of something structure, but there is a way to do it both ways. But also like creating, like if everything is so structured and you don't have that ability to, like, then you need to create space within your space in scrap time. It's like, and I know one of the things that I deal with is seeing people who seem so much more productive than me and being a little disappointed that like, oh, I can't do that. It's like, I've been doing this online, or, you know, scrapbooking for over 10 years. So have you, even more than me. And it's I was talking to Mel just the other day, because she was like, I got stuff done ahead of time. And I'm like, go you. I'm like, I wish I could be like that. It's like, I've been doing this for over 10 years. And sometimes I still have a problem with getting things done and not waiting till the last minute. Sarah's doing a hop or rediscover your step. I still haven't finished that layout, but and I'm okay with that. You know, it's like, I'll get it done. But it's like but I also have within my space structured time so that I do get some stuff done, because I have, you know, it's like, especially being a business owner now, it's like I have to have some kind of boundaries. So it's like just kind of redirecting where those boundaries go is really helpful. What are some things that you do to get out of that creative funk? Like we could kind of talk a little bit about that as we close out, because we do have to keep this.
Well, and I mean, it kind of depends because I feel like recently, like I want to scrapbook or I want to do these things. It's just I don't have there's not enough time in the day. I need like a
Yeah.
100 hours in one day, you know, like to do everything like work and family and then, you know, like deal with my emotional stress in a good way, like with scrapbooking. But it's like there's not that many hours in a day. So I feel like even in times like this, doing things like whether I'm posting on social media, like if I made a layout and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love this layout, and I just post it on social media, like that fills my cup. Or if I do have time to make a layout, like I just went to a retreat a couple weekends ago and I recorded quite a few layouts. So like editing those videos or something like that kind of stuff, like when I am in burnout, like I feel like that kind of stuff kind of fills my cup. Like
Mm-hmm.
even though it's not sitting down and playing with supplies and doing the craft and the hobby that I like to do, it's still creative in some kind of aspect. So like my brain is still getting that creativity. It's just a different type of it,
Yeah.
you know? So it's like, even though it's not the actual craft, like I feel like I still am like it's something that I can handle, I guess, is
Mm.
like I don't have time to scrapbook right now because I'm trying to pack up all my scrapbooking stuff. I'm trying, you know, like I'm trying to get my house
Yeah.
ready to sell. And so, like, what can I do that's still creative? Oh, like I have this video of me making this layout, like, and that still feels creative because it's based around that hobby, you know.
Mm.
I think
Yeah.
that is what I need to focus on is like the back end stuff that maybe it's not the actual hobby, but it's still fun.
Well, I know when you were like, I want to do all the things to help you, Hannah, for the Crafty Maven. And my thought was, okay, well, I know you're busy. And
Yeah.
I didn't want to add to that stress. So I'm thinking, what can I do that's going to spark her activity? Oh, she loves to do sketches. Oh,
Yep.
she loves to do this. You love to do the recipe.
Exactly.
You love to think of like these other creative things that I'm like, this also helps me out because then I don't have to, get out of another mindset of like, okay, what stuff am I going to put together for this kit? Or what can I, also get for this? Or,
Right.
it's
Right.
like, and I found that like all this other stuff that I've been doing for the business that's creative has like filled my cup that because I have not scrapped like papers as much as I wish I could. I was like, man, I had this whole month off of work and I feel I've only posted like 3 layouts. I was like, what the heck,
Mhm.
Hannah? But then I remembered, like, I've been making watercolor, I've been putting stuff all together, and it's like, can I do more? And should I do other stuff? Yes, because I know those other things also. I know, putting paint on the paper that I made is also going to fill my cup. But it's
Right.
like, yeah, I think that rearranging in your head of realizing like what is actually creative and what can I do in a smaller amount of time that's gonna fill that need
Mhm.
until I can come into my room. And I think knowing when, and this is so hard, and maybe this is something that we can kind of end up on, is how do you know when to transition to taking a full blown break? And I know it's easier when you're not a creative scrapbooker who has a YouTube channel or is posting and on design teams. Like that's much harder. But how do you know when you need to take a break?
Well, and I think I said that at the very beginning. Like when I go from I want to scrapbook to I have to for all
Yeah.
of these obligation reasons. Like it's not like me intentionally wanting to just go enjoy my time. Like, and I think that's where I'm at right now. Like, yes, I still like to scrapbook and all of that and fill my cup, but at the same time, it's not really a want right now. Like life is just too busy. And
Yeah.
it's unfortunate and it sucks, but it's like, it is what it is, you know?
And it is okay. And I'm gonna say this because it's like I know I like feel like my brain goes back and forth and I have to remind myself. It is sometimes it is so necessary to take that break. I'm like, getting into this, so I'm like so feeling it. Okay, it's sometimes it is so necessary to take a break, and I know we have such a hard time because we don't want to fall off the game. We don't want people to forget about us. We don't like there's all these things, and like yes, there's going to be consequences, but no matter what you do, there's going to be consequences. So are you willing to sacrifice what you like, what goes on those pages for all the other things, you know? It's like, are you willing to do that? Because I will say one of the best things that I did was take almost a 3-year break.
Right.
I will say I kick myself in the butt every day. I wish people bugged me more. But you know what? I had to take that break. I had to fill my cup in other ways and realize that there are also other things that can fill my cup. And I also had to relearn who I was outside of scrapbooking so that when I come back, now I'm like even more rejuvenated, even more excited, even more like inspired to put things on a page and to be inspirational. And I get that, like, once again, I get that it is so different when you aren't on a design team. You're not doing stuff on YouTube. You're just doing, but like, it's still, those issues are still there on a micro level, right? Because you still want to share if you're on social media, or you still want to feel like you've accomplished something in your room, right? It's like, I feel like like I want to have an album for my family and all that kind of stuff. So it's like, are you willing to sacrifice not getting that done? It's like, yeah, you might have to take a break. Life gets busy sometimes, and those things will spill over, and you're not going to like what you're doing. You are going to feel like, oh, this is just a chore. You know what? Like, as much as our family and kids and, everybody who looks at our books, as much as they love them, they also will be okay if you don't do that. Right.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Take the break that you need. Take the break. It is okay. It will be there. Like, just don't be rash. Don't throw out all your stuff. It's like, I have a friend who, her husband is going through a lot of life stuff. And part of it is they need to move. But she's like, I'm just going to sell all of my stuff. And I'm like, what are you talking? Like, but that's your thing. That brings you joy. Yeah. And you're just going to get rid of it. You're good. So don't be rash. Yeah. Do it in stages. But you can always come back and it'll be there. So remember that, listen to yourself. those lights, those blinking lights,
sorry, I don't know what happened.
I don't know. It's okay. It rotates between who's talking and who's not. So
okay.
Anyway, with that said, so for today we need to close up. And unfortunately, I am going to miss you, Megan. I'm sure everybody is going to miss us bantering. But it's not like this is done. It's just for the season. Yeah. And I totally get, like, you have to take care of your house. Like, I say house stuff, like, your life stuff. You have to take care of that, because you're going to come to the table even more inspired, even more excited.
Yeah,
when you do that. And that's what people love about our conversations, right? So with that said, I'm going to just leave this here for anybody too, but because I know I've been talking to some other people. So the podcast is still going to go on. Yeah. I would love to have lots of different people. Actually, one of the ideas that I thought of, it would be so fun to go through some of the old team members and do podcast episodes. We'll have to see, because I know a lot of them didn't like doing it, want to do it even when we used to do Scrappy Chats, which is how it ended up just being, but so if anybody wants and has a conversation topic that you would love to talk about, let me know in the comments. I do read the comments. I might not respond right away because it takes forever. Sometimes I'm trying to do all the balls and but I do see it, and I so appreciate. I know Gia, I love. She's getting another shout out here because she always comments, and I absolutely love it.
Gia's awesome.
And some other ladies definitely have commented too. I love it. I love hearing, like, because that's what this is supposed to be. It's Scrappy Chats.
Right.
So if anybody wants to join in with me, so I'm figuring that that's probably what it's going to be, is some different people. We might have some reoccurring people come in and have conversations. So the conversations will still be here.
Oh yes,
It's
definitely.
just going to look a little different for a while, and we're going to miss you. And
Gonna
we'll just
miss
make
it
sure we
too.
tag you in everything so
Yes.
that, you know,
Definitely. I
you
expect
can
to
do
get a
some
text.
crafty things without
I
actually doing crafty things.
I expect to get a text weekly from you when you post it, so then I can go and listen to it, because I'm not a part of it now. Like, you do that every week anyway, but I'm just like, okay, now I like really need to go and listen and watch and
But you can
everything.
listen to it while you're on your way to work or on
Exactly.
your lunch break,
Right.
and feel like you're part of the
I'm a part of
conversation.
it.
And see, and this is the fun part, and this is where redirecting how we think about things and come to the creative table really is helpful, because it's like, just think of how inspired you're going to be to get back in your room when you're done, after
Oh, I know.
taking that break, after listening to other people who are also excited about scrapbooking.
Yeah.
And so, like, to me, I'm excited to see you get to that point again.
Oh, yeah, me too. It's funny because Ashley was talking to me like about how she's like, before we start packing everything up, why don't we go through all of your scrapbooking stuff? And I'm like, no, like, I want to do that when I'm in the mindset of, this is my new space. What can fit here? What can't,
Yeah.
like, because right now it's like, I don't even know, the possibilities. And I will regret some things if I throw them out now, or, sell them or
Yeah.
whatever. And it's like, no, like, I want to get to our new home and then go through everything. And it's funny because she's like the total opposite of me, but I'm like, I am going to do it my way. This is, me.
Yeah.
Like, I love you, but, and I know she means well, but I'm just like, no, I don't have the capacity to do that. Like, I want to do that when I'm excited about being in a new space.
Yeah. Yeah.
And organizing and all of that stuff. So, but yeah. And that's in a whole different episode too. We could do that maybe when I come back, like my new space and like everything. Like, that would be kind of fun.
That would be fun. Well, and especially since I'm redoing all this whole space, it's like, there's a lot of things I'm learning, and I'm like, okay. And then I still need to go through a lot more of my stuff. Like, I've started, and like, it's interesting. I will say the hardest part about having a store is having a lot of cool stuff, but not being able to play with it all entirely, because I want to make sure that everybody else has some, even though I know people want to see me use it. So, like, it's the crux of everything. But anyway, it is really hard to see all this new Vicky Booten stuff and not use it for everybody else.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, it is so hard. It is so hard, everyone. The struggle is real. This is, how do you say?
She's saving it for you all.
Well, because it's, and if anybody doesn't realize, I have some of the Vicky Booten stuff. If you look earlier, you'll see the unboxing, so you can see exactly what we have. I actually just did and I need to post it, flip through of the album, so I will be using that.
Oh, cool.
I decided, well, I'll sacrifice for everybody and use it because it's just so gorgeous. But I'm trying to save it, because from what I've heard from other stores is, in the big warehouses, there's a lot of the stuff is running out. So I don't know how easy it's going to be to have everything. Yeah. And so, and I will say that, like, my store is relatively, it's priced at the same. I think we're all pretty much about the same. So I know Sandy has some stuff that I don't have, but I definitely have stuff. So there's some stuff that I have quite a bit of, because I wanted to make sure, like, some of the rub-ons and the phrase titles and stuff like that. So definitely, if you haven't gone to the store, and we have some new stuff. I try to put new stuff in every week, because I can't just get it in all at one time anyway. So just know that I'm constantly adding stuff. So I'm going to let you guys go. Let Megan go, because she's got to finish her lunch.
Gotta get back to work.
But hopefully we filled your scrappy belly with some fun excitement. And guys, once again, don't forget your reason why. Don't forget your reason why, and use that to help build your boundaries. so that you don't get scrappy burnout, because it's not fun. And because this is supposed to be fun. Like what we're doing, it's fun. It's all for funsies. So have a good day, everyone, and have a great scrappy week. Bye.
Bye.